welcome back to the Christmas Diaries. So today we're going to be baking bread, Christmas bread. Two different types. One loaf is a loaf I make all year round, and it is absolutely awesome breakfast bread, but it's so Christmassy that I was like, I'm going to include it into the Christmas bread. The other one is a bread I made the first time last year, and it was so good. So it's called Cranberry Orange Bread. That's the first bread we're going to do, and the second bread is apple cinnamon bread. But off camera, what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut up half of this bag of cranberries into half, and then I'm going to throw it into a bowl with 1/4 cup of sugar and just let it set, and then we'll start baking. Okay, so in this bowl I'm going to put in 4 cups of flour, teaspoon and a half of salt. I usually eyeball this. And then 2 teaspoons of baking soda. Now, we're just going to mix this up really good. We're going to set it aside, and then we're going to start on our wet ingredients. All right, in this bowl, we are actually going to add 2 cups of sugar. You're going to want to add 2/3 cup of vegetable oil. Do not skim on the oil. Do not put olive oil in. It makes a big difference, believe it or not. Vegetable oil is the way to go, even though it's being told it's not exactly the most healthiest of oils. But it's Christmas. Half the stuff I'm cooking is not the healthiest. So then we're going to need some orange zest. Sorry, I didn't mean to move you. We're going to want to mix this together. That orange zest smells so good. And then we're going to want to add 2 eggs to it. Alright, now I need to get the orange juice in the water, and we're going to be mixing some stuff together. I'm going to be old fashioned about this and not use my mixer, so we're going to slowly add the sugar ingredients. So what I do is I add some of the sugar, then I add a little bit of the orange juice, 1 cup of orange juice, and then 1 cup of water, and I stir it up, and then once that's mixed in, add it again. I do it about 3 times, and that should be enough. This recipe also does call for pecans. I'm not going to put any pecans in. I'm handing a lot of this out to my neighbors. I don't know who has food allergies, so it's just better to be safe than sorry. What I'm going to do is I'm going to add this to the mixer so it mixes in my KitchenAid, so it mixes in really, really well. It's going to be faster. Smooth it is. Oh my gosh, this looks so good. It smells wonderful. Yes, I use the cake batter for this, even though it's a bread, because you want it smooth. Okay, the next thing you're going to do, this is when you add either the pecans that you're going to use. I would just eyeball the pecans, but as you see, look how beautiful those cranberries are. We're going to add that with the extra sugar that's with the cranberries. We're just going to mix it through really good. We're going to get our bread pans ready. I got my bread pans ready. These are small bread pans. So I use, usually I've washed out this measuring cup. I use a measuring cup to just go ahead and try to make it as least messy as possible. As you can see, I'm going to get it everywhere, but that's just how I roll. And it's about a cup per pan. Now it is going to all rise, so I filled up about halfway. I'm only supposed to be making 8. I prepped for 10 just in case. And these breads do freeze. Last year I made them early in December like I'm making them now, and then I froze them, and it was awesome. So I'm not going to quite have 12. So I have the oven heated up to 350 degrees. I'm going to pop these in for about 35 to 40 minutes until they're brown on top. And while that's happening, I'm going to clean this kitchen and we will get ready for the next bread. For my oven, it took 35 minutes. I did the toothpick test. Make sure whenever you do the toothpick test, you don't go into one of the cranberries because, yeah, the cranberries are pretty moist, but yeah, it's all coming up clean. So I'm gonna let them cool down and we're gonna start on the next bread. Okay, for this one, I'm going to mix in the small bowl. This makes 2 loaves. So if you only want to make one loaf, you just have everything. 1 cup of brown sugar. I use light brown sugar. And you're going to need 3 teaspoons of cinnamon. I actually will use 4 teaspoons of cinnamon. I like my bread to be very, very cinnamony. 3. As I said, I make this all year, so it's kind of like there's extra ingredients that I usually use off the actual thing I have. I'm going to mix this all together, and we're just going to set it aside. So I need to soften 1 cup of butter, which is 2 butter sticks. So I actually just melted my butter. We're going to mix this until smooth. I put in 1 and 1/3 cup of sugar with a cup of butter, and we're just going to mix it until it's smooth. Didn't take long at all. We're going to have 4 teaspoons of vanilla. Again, I eyeball this, and I'm going to add 4 eggs to this. So now we're going to add 1/2 cup of milk. This I do not eyeball because I will mess it up. It is 3 teaspoons of baking powder and 3 cups of flour. Now, this is where I add in like a 1/4 cup of unsweetened applesauce. However, if you have a sweetened applesauce, that works just as well. Right. We're going to go ahead and mix this again. That looks good. All right, so I'm going to start off with these. These are little mini cakes. So as I said, I wanted this to be on the top. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and sprinkle this all around the bottom. And then I use cooking apples, and I don't peel them, but I put a few cooking apples in each one. So what you want to do is you want to fill up half your bread pan or your bread pan with this. You're getting all the apple and everything on the bottom so that it cooks through. Now these, it says to cook for 15 minutes. These, because of as small as they are, they will probably cook for about 30 minutes. I'll check it at 30. The bread pan. So if you're making bread, what I do, is I put a really good layer on the bottom, spread it out. Then For bread, I take and pour a bunch of apples in it. This is actually for our home. All the other ones are for our neighbors. This is for us. So I'm doing it according to what we really like. And you may be saying, that is really thick bread. Yes, it is. But it is basically a breakfast bread, a sweet bread. You know, what's going to happen is the bread's going to rise through it. Then, so I'm going to put this in for about 50 minutes, and then I will top it again with cinnamon as it all comes out. Here is the final bread. This kind of came apart whenever I pulled it out, but this is, as I said, this is going to be our bread. As you can see, I've already taste tested. It's wonderful. And then this is what the little cake pans showed. And I'll be boxing those up in a little bit. But that's it for today, and I will see you tomorrow.